that time once again to be taking a look at yet another release from the Big Finish Torchwood main range. In today's review I'm going to be taking a look at The Three Monkeys as written by James Goss. This release features Dr. Owen Harper as portrayed by Bern Gorman alongside Tom Price as Sergeant Andy Davison. This release is available to be ordered now on the Big Finish website. The physical CD is £10.99 and the download is £8.99. If you like what you hear throughout this review, I do also recommend checking out the website in order to see the story details as well as being able to listen to the trailer. Funnily enough, of course, this is the Torchwood release for October. I say that for two reasons. One reason being I'm currently behind on reviews, so this review might not be going out in October. And the second reason being I think I reviewed my first ever Torchwood monthly range story in October of 2019. Boy, doesn't the time fly. And that was, of course, Smashed, featuring Eve Miles playing Gwen Cooper, and I absolutely loved that story. It was a perfect listen for the spooky period of Halloween because it had a rather unexpected dark undertone to it. I went into the episode thinking it was going to be rather light-hearted, with Gwen needing to get drunk in order to save the world. However, it had something about it that was a very unexpected twist, and that unexpected twist continues throughout the vast majority of the Torchwood main range, and as a result since then we've taken a look at some rather intriguing stories. Of course, Tropical Beach Sounds and Relaxing Seascapes 4, a very experimental story as written by Tim Foley, an episode that I absolutely adored back in the early months of this year. And we've also taken a look at some rather character building stories as well, the likes of Dinner and a Show featuring Toshiko and Yanto, as well as Iceberg featuring once again Bern Gorman as Dr. Owen Harper. Not only that, I've also listened to quite a number of stories from the previous Torchwood main range releases that came out before I started reviewing Torchwood stories, and mainly the ones that have been recommended to me. And I say that because two of those titles were in fact The Hope and Corpse Day, both of which feature the exact characters that are seen throughout this story, The Three Monkeys. And to put it bluntly, I really wanted to review those episodes a number of months ago. However, I kind of have a rule when it comes to Big Finish. If I've listened to a release and I've not reviewed it in a certain period of time, I kind of just bin off the review, because as a result I don't have the audio drama kind of in the forefront of my mind. I'm not fully thinking about the story and I'm not kind of appreciating it as I would have back when I first listened to it. So as a result, the review wouldn't be as accurate as to what I would want it to be had I just listened to the story first time round. And I can recall Corpse Day and The Hope being really brilliant stories, very, very dark, arguably some of the darkest that I've in fact ever listened to from Big Finish. But as a result, I was very much looking forward to this story, because this story features both of those characters, and when you put Owen and Sergeant Andy Davison together, some interesting things happen. It's a dynamic that I never quite expected would work, along with I think the vast majority of Torchwood and Big Finish fans. Something about it, something about these two personalities that are very, very strong. Of course, one of the key things that intertwines throughout all of these stories, being The Hope, Corpse Day and The Three Monkeys, is that Owen is deceased, and he has been deceased for quite a number of years, and Torchwood wheel him out every so often to carry out certain tasks, and that is one of the things that we see throughout this episode. And usually he is paired with Sergeant Andy Davison, so we kind of have that funny vibe that he's a dead person working with somebody who is still alive, so we have a nice little dynamic there, talking about death, how it feels, the fact he can't smell anything. But also we have Sergeant Andy Davison, who at this point within the history of Torchwood is still kind of getting over the fact that his sidekick, being Gwen, has now left him for a much cooler life, chasing aliens and chasing other various things that are left around Cardiff, as opposed to being on street corners, or in particular throughout this story, watching a house on a stakeout for the entirety of the night because somebody has phoned the police saying that somebody is going to steal the cladding off his roof. However, this time Torchwood are a little bit interested in said cladding on his roof, but also the person inside the house they are watching over. So I think the first thing that I'm going to talk about for this review is once again the production. Of course, the senior producer is David Richardson, the cover art has been rather excellently created by Lee Binding, the director is Scott Handcock, the music is Blair Mowat, the producer is James Goss, the script editor Tim Foley, the sound design Ian Meadows, and of course the episode is also written by James Goss. And there is something wonderfully satisfying about the Torchwood main range and the sound design and production overall. And for those of you that have watched my previous Torchwood main range reviews, I do sincerely apologise, because I mentioned this in a number of reviews in the past, but because these are 1 hour stories, there's something so satisfying about them. They manage to set the scene very, very well. You get immersed within the scenario that the characters are within, and of course in the case of this story, we have two much loved characters, sat in a car on a stakeout. It's cold outside, the rain is pouring, and as a result you feel like you are in said car with these characters, having some rather heart-to-heart conversations. Sound design and music is incredible. It really sets up the story, but also the directing is very nice, easy to follow, oddly soothing, and overall just generally a joy to listen to, as always. So the episode kicks off with a rather lovely anecdote from Tom Price as Sergeant Andy Davison, and to start with you kind of wonder, how is this going to link into the overall arc of the story, as we have him talking about his uncle and auntie, and basically a rather unlucky story of his uncle opening a shop, and basically, long story short, he ends up in prison, as you do, and his auntie in fact needs to go to a home, and he basically is in this awkward relationship with his auntie because his auntie blames him for his uncle going to prison because he's a police officer, and he didn't really do too much about it because he was cautious, quite rightfully so, about his job, and it won't exactly look very good if he's a policeman and his uncle is in prison. To start with, you do kind of wonder what is the relevance of this. However, as we soon find out with The Three Monkeys, it's an episode that is focused around luck. And people who wake up on a morning, I say it like this because I know people like this and it's bloody infuriating, as we all do, no doubt. You wake up on a morning and everything goes wrong. You wake up, I don't know, you go and boil a cup of tea and you accidentally drop your cup on the floor. It smashes. Great, you need to get a new cup. You accidentally put the milk in the cupboard and the cup in the fridge. It's one of those days where everything goes wrong and you just wish it was over very, very quickly. I'm having a lot of those days recently. And then you have other people, other really, really annoying people, where life just seems to go right. Everything goes right. Everything is perfect and their lives are just so easy. And this story is for those people where their life is perfect. And as a result, we have this whole concept of luck, and Andy realising that some people are just meant to be lucky, and we have the whole concept of the monkey with the little tambourines clapping away. And what happens if an alien can somehow enhance the whole concept of luck and basically utilise it and twist history in order to make one person lucky and other people surrounding them not. And of course, one of the heartfelt things about this story is that Owen's dead, so he can't really receive much luck because he can't exactly wish to come back from the dead, because that is something that you can't rewrite. You can't rewrite history, as the First Doctor does say. He's still in Cardiff. Even though he is dead, that is kind of the place he is. However, he could be anywhere in the world, and that is something that comes to the forefront in the later half of this story, as you have a little bit of a conflict arising between Owen and Sergeant Andy Davison, where they would use luck in two very different ways, which is what makes their characters interesting. And again, I love the fact that these characters manage to have this conflict. They manage to have their differences. At the very end of all of these stories, they manage to come together. They manage to have this bond, which is in fact arguably one of the strongest bonds within the Torchwood team, I think, because we have an interesting whole idea that is thrown into the air of Torchwood friends, and basically people who work for Torchwood are very, very lonely, and that is something that we see a lot of within Torchwood series 1 and 2, especially between that relationship of Gwen and her husband, or soon-to-be husband, of course, Rhys. Then we also have Tosh and Owen and the relationship there and the struggles of that, and they can kind of get along because they know what their field of work is. However, everybody outside Torchwood can't know that, and I think that Andy rather nicely sums it up as when Owen either comes for him or when Gwen comes for him, he knows that he's going to lose a part of his soul, and he's in for a very, very rough day. And as a result, the relationship within the whole Torchwood team and Andy is one of tension and uncertainty, but also there is that human bond in there as well because of these experiences that kind of draw them together. It's relatable, and that's what makes the characters stand out throughout this story. I know that one of the main things that I was thinking about when I was listening to this story was, where does the monkey come into it? And as a result, I'm going to talk about the monkey, because the monkey is slap bang on the front cover, it's unavoidable, and yes, that is the main thing that creates the look, and it's hilarious. It is absolutely brilliant to see these characters in a rather serious tone saying the likes of, "Pass me the monkey, Andy, and give me the monkey back," because when they have the monkey, they feel happy, and when they have the monkey taken away, the characters start to feel sad. They realise how pointless their lives are, and how they just do the same thing on a daily basis, over and over again, and every day is the same. This one's a bit hard-hitting, isn't it, around this time of year? Basically, we're all living the life without the monkey, to put it bluntly. But that in itself is what makes this story interesting, because the whole concept of the alien is not what makes this story work. If anything, we don't actually have any contact with whatever the monkey was before it came through the rift in Wales and disguised itself as a monkey. We don't hear the alien speak, we don't really hear anything about the monkey's homeworld. All we know, if anything, is the very beginning of a mission, because Owen and Andy have been sent to deal with the monkey, and basically the rest of Torchwood will deal with the rest. So as a result, throughout this episode, oddly, we only see the tip of the iceberg, and all of the technical stuff of defeating the monkey, sending the monkey home, all of that is kind of dealt with by the rest of the team, and in particular, that person that we refer back to at the very start of the story, the people that are very lucky and know that they are lucky, and as a result, they have power because they have money, and they are unstoppable. The high business people who have fast cars and all of that. That is something that we see used throughout this story as a weapon, and even interfering with the likes of police duties. And I like that aspect of this story. I like the fact that we have the other half of Torchwood dealing with the more sci-fi stuff, because the interesting thing about this story isn't the alien, it isn't the fact of defeating the alien, it is the experiences of Owen and Andy within this car, talking, being humans, or being at least a human and one dead human, and them talking about their experiences and what makes their lives worth it. And as a result, you kind of come out the episode respecting the characters more. And if you like Corpse Day, which I imagine if you've listened to Corpse Day, you probably do, and if you like the hope and you like bleaker stories that kind of make you think about life, then this is another episode for you. I definitely recommend purchasing this whole trilogy, because so far, the one thing that I can say about these audio drama stories, aside from the odd experimental one here and there, I know that when an episode features Andy and Owen, I'm in safe hands. I'm in for a 1 hour drama that I will love, because there is just so much depth to the plot. It's thought-provoking, it's considerably simple really in its design, but it is effective. In summary, for Torchwood The Three Monkeys, it's another great 1 hour drama by James Goss, with that perfect concoction of dark humour and emotion. Bern Gorman and Tom Price are the perfect Torchwood duo that make the narrative flow ever so easily. From the sad story of Andy's uncle and the massive bat knives, yes seriously, bats made out of giant knives, it's got something for everyone. In times like present, it also highlights one of the many flaws with current society, where if you have contacts and money, it seems that even the law doesn't apply to you if you pull the right strings. Some may consider the moments with the monkey a little bit over the top, but to me, I found them absolutely hilarious. The way the whole story centres around an object that yes looks rather creepy, but also some may consider looking a little bit daft. The narrative is light-hearted at the right moments and projects the message powerfully when it needs to. I'd love to see more of Andy and Owen together in the future as a part of the Torchwood main range, or maybe even having their own box set, and if you like Corpse Day and The Hope, this is an essential listen. That is that for Torchwood The Three Monkeys, as written by James Goss, featuring Bern Gorman as Dr. Owen Harper and Tom Price as Sergeant Andy Davison. General compliments to both of them, they do a superb job, and as always, the characters leap off the page and it is a joy to listen to. I always find it very difficult to review the Torchwood main range stories, because I want to do the stories justice, I want to talk about the plots, I want to talk about the characters. However, for the most part, I still want to leave the vast majority of the story a mystery for you guys to go out and listen to yourselves. However, if you are looking for a Torchwood story from this year to listen to, this one should definitely be one near the top of the list. So thank you very much for watching this review. I really hope you have enjoyed it. Do of course stay tuned on the Host Productions for brand new Doctor Who content each and every week, as well as of course regular Big Finish audio drama reviews, as well as much more. And of course on that note, I shall see you all next time. Bye for now.